Good morning, students. Welcome. We will continue with our same chapter, chapter number 8, cell structure and functions. That is part 2 of our chapter. In the last video, we discussed up to the shape, size, and number of cells. Yeah. Now, our next topic we'll be discussing in this video. Cell structure and function is our topic now. Now, students, you have learned that each living organism has many organs. Yeah, I explained you before also. You have studied in class 7 about the digestive organs, which together constitute the digestive system. Digestive organs together constitute a digestive system. And each organ in the system performs different functions, which are these functions such as digestion, assimilation, and observation. Similarly, different organs of a plant also perform specific or we can say specialized functions. For example, roots help in the absorption of water and minerals. Leaves, as you have learnt in class 7, are responsible for the synthesis of food. Now, each organ is further made up of smaller parts called tissues. Very important. A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a specific function. In a unicellular organism, a single cell performs all the basic functions of life. But in multicellular organism, these are the functions. First, cells, which are known as basic structural units of an organism, and cells of same type form tissues. Then, tissues are made up of specialized cells with similar functions, form organs performing a particular functions within the organ. And the organ or parts perform a particular function such as respiration, digestion, etc. And organs further form the organ system. This is the hierarchy in our body. From cells of same shape forms tissues, tissues together form organs, and organs together form a organ system. Very important. Now, next is parts of the cell. We studied about the cell, discovery of the cell, shape, size, and number of the cells. Now, let's see some parts of the cells. Our first is cell membrane. Now, the basic components of a cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. This is the basic main components of the cell. क्या है? तीन main components हैं, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. एक एक करके हम लेंगे. पहला है हमारा cell membrane. The cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed within the cell membrane, also called the plasma membrane. Cell membrane के अंदर ही होते हैं cytoplasm और nucleus. पहले covering होती है cell membrane की, उसके अंदर होते हैं cytoplasm and nucleus. And cell membrane is also known as plasma membrane. The membrane separates cell from one another and also the cell from the surrounding medium. सेल को डैमेज होने से भी प्रोटेक्ट करती है मेम्ब्रेन और एक सेल को दूसरे सेल से सेपरेशन देती है. The plasma membrane is porous. Porous means it has some kind of holes and it allows the movement of substances or materials both inward and outward because substances, proteins, nutrients को अंदर आने भी देती है cells के और waste को बाहर जाने भी देती है. So plasma membrane works both sides. It allows the movement of substances inward as well as outward. In order, you can see one activity is given in your textbook, which is actually the activity 3 of your textbook. You can say 8.3. In order to observe the basic components of the cell, take an onion bulb. This is an activity which can be done. Onion bulb means एक onion लेना है. Remove the dry pink coverings, that is peels. Onion के peels हमें remove करने हैं. You can easily separate these from the fleshy white layers of the bulb with the help of forceps or even with your hand. आप easily उसका एक छिलका सा पतला सा पील अगर आप ओनियन का लेंगे तो आपके हाथ से भी आप उसे सेपरेट कर सकते हैं. You can also break the onion bulb and separate out thin layers. Place a small piece of the thin onion peel. अभी onion peel को आगे क्या करना है? This is the main. In a drop of water on a glass slide. एक glass slide लेनी है. Glass slide mostly this one ऐसे इस तरह से ग्लास स्लाइड्स होती हैं, आपको मार्केट्स में मिल जाती हैं. इसके ऊपर ओनियन पील को रख के उसके ऊपर पानी का एक ड्रॉप डालना है. या The thin layer can be cut into smaller pieces with the help of blade or forceps. Thin layer को बिल्कुल छोटे से pieces में आप कट कर सकते हैं. Add a drop of methylene blue solution. Now methylene blue solution is a kind of stain. Color है जो ओनियन पील को कलर देगा. ओनियन पील एक बहुत ही लाइट कलर में होगी, एकदम व्हाइटिश अपीयर करेगी. उसको अगर ऑब्जर्व करना है ठीक से, उसके पार्ट्स को ऑब्जर्व करना है तो वी हैव टू कलर इट. Yeah, otherwise you will not be able to observe it clearly under the microscope. So methylene blue, very important, is the solution used to observe it. So the Add a drop of methylene blue solution to the layer and place a cover slip on it. Cover slip होती है उसको ऊपर से ढक देने के लिए. While placing the cover slip, ensure that there are no air bubbles under the cover slip because water drops are given. So we should ensure that air bubbles should be removed from that place. Observe the slide under the microscope and draw and label the figure. So you will see the figure something like this. This is the observation. The boundary of the onion cell is the cell membrane. ये जो onion cell की आप boundary देख रहे हैं ना, हर एक cell को एक boundary differentiate करती है, उसे हम cell membrane कहते हैं, cell wall कहते हैं. Covered by another thick covering called the cell wall. Cell membrane को भी एक thick rigid wall से covered है, जिसे हम cell wall कहते हैं. ये जो है ना, ये सारी cell walls हैं. या एक मेम्ब्रेन के बाहर जो रिजिड कवरिंग है दैट इज सेल वॉल. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एनिमल सेल हैज ओनली सेल मेम्ब्रेन और बट प्लांट सेल में सेल वॉल भी होती है. द सेंट्रल डेंस राउंड बॉडी इन द सेंटर इज कॉल्ड द न्यूक्लियस. जो ये डॉट्स बीच में दिख रहे हैं ना, these all are nucleus. It is also labeled in the figure. And the jelly like substance between the nucleus and the cell membrane is called cytoplasm. It is a liquid present in the cell. एक fluid होता है जो jelly like sticky substance होता है, and it is called cytoplasm. Very important. You can see here in the figure cytoplasm and nucleus are already labeled. Now, protection for a cell. You have learned earlier that the cell membrane gives shape to the cell. Yeah. In addition to the cell membrane, there is an outer thick layer in the cells of plants, only plants, called cell wall. This additional layer surrounding the cell membrane is required by the plants for protection. Why? Because plant cells need protection against variation in temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, etc. Plants तो घर के बाहर होते हैं, उनको ये सब चीजों से fight करना पड़ता है. So much variations are there in the temperature, wind speed होती है high, तो it can damage the cell. So they have naturally got the extra protection by the cell wall, which is very rigid. So cell wall is actually the protection for a cell. They are exposed to these variation because they cannot move. Why? हम लोग जो है human beings है, अपने आप को different ये जो natural चीजों से अपने आप को save कर सकते हैं, because and plant cells can't do that. Plants are very cannot move. They are fixed at one place. So they have got these extra protection. Cells can be observed in the leaf peel of a Transdatia, Elodia or Royo. These are some plants. You can also observe the leaves of these. You can take the peel and observe it under the microscope as we did for onion cell. You can prepare a slide as in the case of onion. Yeah. Now activity 4. Take a clean toothpick or a matchstick with the tip broken. टिप उसकी ब्रोकन होनी चाहिए. एक मैचस्टिक या टूथपिक ले लो. स्क्रैप इनसाइड ऑफ योर चीक. आपका जो चीक है, आपका फेस में चीक पोर्शन है, माउथ के अंदर ले जाके वहां पे थोड़ी स्क्रैप कर दो, उसको घिस दो उस मैचस्टिक से या कोई भी टूथपिक से, तो आपकी कुछ जो लेयर है स्किन की वो उसमें आ जाएगी. प्लेस इट इन अ ड्रॉप ऑफ वाटर ऑन अ ग्लास स्लाइड. फिर उसको एक ड्रॉप ऑफ पानी के साथ ग्लास स्लाइड पे प्लेस कर दो, जैसे हमने ओनियन पील को किया. Add a drop of iodine. Now here we are using which stain? Iodine. And place a cover slip over it in the same way. Alternatively, add 1 or 2 drops of methylene blue solution. You can also use methylene blue. It is very dark in color instead of iodine. Observe it under the microscope. You may notice several cells in the scrubbed material. ये आप खुद के cheek के cell के साथ experiment कर रहे हैं. उसमें क्या क्या note करेंगे? You can identify the cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. A cell wall is absent in animal cell. Very important. It is only present in plant cell. Now you can see what is seen. आप एक figure देख रहे हैं, इस तरह से आपको उसमें दिखेगा न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन है, सेल मेम्ब्रेन है, साइटोप्लाज्म है, न्यूक्लियस है. So there are many parts of cell doing many function. Let's see some of them in both of the cells. Now let's see some parts of the cells और उनके कुछ functions हम देख ले. Complete parts of the cells की higher studies जो है आप आपके higher classes में करेंगे. कुछ parts है जैसे न्यूक्लियस, साइटोप्लाज्म, सेल मेम्ब्रेन, इनके functions हम अभी देखेंगे. Parts of the cell. First is cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया, it is a fluid of the liquid. It is the jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. Cell membranes और nucleus के बीच में जो cell fluid है, उसे हम कहते हैं cytoplasm. Very important. Various other components or organelles of cells are present in the cytoplasm. जो सारे other parts होते हैं cells के, वो mostly cytoplasm में ही present होते हैं. These are mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, etc. These are the very different functions are there which different organelles are there, organs होते हैं जो cells में बहुत सारे organs होते हैं, मैंने कहा था आप higher standards में उनको study करेंगे. You will learn about them in later classes. So all these organelles are present in cytoplasm. You have to remember these. Next is our nucleus. What is nucleus? It was in the center of the cell, dark structure. Yeah, a circle type tha, that is nucleus. We saw in the figure also. It is an important component of the living cell. Very important component. It is generally spherical and located in the center of the cell. Center of the cell mein hota hai, and generally it is mostly spherical in shape. It can be stained and seen easily with the help of a microscope. Stain करके, color करके हम उसको easily microscope से observe कर सकते हैं. Nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a membrane called the nuclear membrane. Nucleus को भी एक membrane support करती है जिसे हम nuclear membrane कहते हैं, जो उसे cytoplasm से अलग करती है. Because cytoplasm में और other organelles भी present होते हैं, एक fluid भी होता है. That fluid cannot enter the nucleus because of nuclear membrane. The membrane surrounding the nucleus is known as nuclear membrane, and the membrane surrounding the cell is known as cell membrane. This membrane is also porous and allows the movement of materials between the cytoplasm and inside of the nucleus. This membrane is also porous, materials का inward and outward रहता है. With a microscope of higher magnification, we can see a smaller spherical body in the nucleus. Nucleus के अंदर भी small spherical body होती है if you use a microscope of higher magnification, especially electronic microscope. It is called the nucleolus. उसके अंदर जो होता है spherical body उसे हम nucleolus कहते हैं. In addition, nucleus contains thread-like structures called chromosomes. Chromosomes जो होते हैं वो nucleus में present होते हैं. These carry genes. Chromosomes में genes होते हैं. Genes जो आप पहनते हैं वो नहीं. These are the genes and help in the inheritance or transfer of the characters from the parents to the offspring. क्रोमोसोम न्यूक्लियोलस के जो अंदर क्रोमोसोम्स हैं उनमें एक जीन्स होती है जो बच्चों से पेरेंट्स से बच्चों तक सारे कैरेक्टर्स को ट्रांसफर करती है. आपको कई बार बोलते हैं ये आदत तो आपकी पापा पे गई है, मीन्स योर लुक्स आर लाइक योर मदर, योर हेयर आर लाइक योर ब्रदर और सिस्टर. जो इनहेरिटेंस होते हैं, जो हेरिडिटी कैरेक्टर्स होते हैं वो जीन्स कैरी करते हैं. या तो दिस जीन्स ट्रांसफर characters from parents to the offspring. The chromosomes can be seen only when the cell divides. कब दिखते हैं क्रोमोसोम? जब सेल डिवीजन होता है. दो प्रोसेसेस होते हैं, meiosis and mitosis. At that time only the chromosomes are visible, otherwise they are not even visible in the microscope. They cannot be seen, and they are actually the thread-like structure, very important. Nucleus, in addition to its role in inheritance, act as control center of the activities of the cell. Cell की सारी activities को control कौन करता है? Nucleus. Control center है. एक तो वो inheritance के भी सारे characters carry करता है और फिर वो एक cell का control center भी है. The entire content of a living cell is known as protoplasm. और सारा जो अंदर content है cell का, like cytoplasm, nucleus, जो भी अंदर सब present है उसे हम कहते हैं protoplasm. It includes the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Protoplasm is called the living substance of the cell. We call it as the living substance of the cell. Now, what is gene? Actually, it is explained in detail in your textbook also. Gene is a unit of inheritance in living organism. It is a unit of inheritance. जो characters inherit करती है, characters उनमें होते हैं parents के in living organism. It controls the transfer of a hereditary characters from parents to offspring. उनके बच्चों को offspring कहा जाता है. This means that your parents pass some of their characteristics onto you. You all know that you have the sum of the characteristics of your parents. If your father has brown eyes, you may also have brown eyes. If your mother has curly hair, you might also end up having curly hair. However, the different combination of genes from parents result in different characteristics. Mixed characteristics आते हैं, father के भी, mother के भी, yeah? And all this is carried by genes. So genes are responsible for the transfer of hereditary characters from parents to the children. Very important. This can be asked in your exam. Yeah, students. Next is prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. What are these? Very small explanation is given. The nucleus of the bacterial cell is not well organized like the cells of the multicellular organisms. Especially जो unicellular organisms होते हैं उनके nucleus well organized नहीं होते जैसे multicellular organisms के होते हैं. देयर इज नो न्यूक्लियर मैम्ब्रेन. अभी अभी हमने पढ़ा था न्यूक्लियस में एक न्यूक्लियर मैम्ब्रेन होती है जो उसे साइटोप्लाज्म से सेपरेट करती है. But in bacterial cell, it is not well developed nucleus and it does not have nuclear membrane. The cells having nuclear material without nuclear membrane are termed as prokaryotic cells. So these cells which do not have nuclear membrane or nuclear material are termed as prokaryotic cells. Very important. And the organism with these kinds of cells are called prokaryotes. और उन्हीं organisms को हम क्या कहते हैं? Prokaryotes. Examples are bacteria and blue green algae. Prokaryotes का मतलब क्या होता है? Pro means primitive, not developed. Karyon means nucleus, means primitive nucleus. Nucleus जो है वो completely developed नहीं है. Examples are bacteria and blue green algae. The cells like onion cells and cheek cells having well organized nucleus with a nuclear membrane are designated as eukaryotic cells. उन्हें हम कहते हैं eukaryotic cells. All organisms other than bacteria and blue-green algae are called eukaryotes. We human beings are also eukaryotes. Eukaryotes means you means true and karyon means nucleus. So true nucleus, जिसका nucleus completely developed है and it has a nuclear membrane also. So we all are known as eukaryotes and especially bacteria and blue-green algae whose cells are not developed properly or underdeveloped, they are known as prokaryotes. I hope you understood this topic. So we end our video of the up to here. In our next video, we will discuss some few more topics. So we will end our chapter in our next video. I hope you understood all this. Yeah. Go through the video once again, students. Thank you, students. Stay safe. Keep studying.